on our administrative staff, guess what? For 32 years. She must like it here, you know? She loves her job, yeah, yeah. In fact, did you know that she's the RCFE administrator on staff here? And that is the residential care for the elderly. Oh, that's it. Residential care for the elderly administrator. That's what she is. And we have seen her around, and I don't think you guys would be where you are if you hadn't had any contact with Angela. That's how you get in here. Yeah. So, Angela, take it away. It's yours. Let's give a nice hand.
So there's one thing we know how to do here, and that's keep on going if things don't work. So we've had a lot of technical difficulty, and the presentation's not going to work. I know, we can't figure out why. But we've been changing a lot of our systems throughout the administrative building, so that could be the issue. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know, and then if you would like, you could let me know, and I will give you, I'll print out the thumbprints, which is a page that has all the little pages on it, so you can see later. But I think we'll be okay. So the first thing I wanted to say is thank you for having me. Second, if you did not get an envelope with your name, get it before you go tonight. You don't have to do anything with it tonight. It's what's called your face sheet. So if ever there's an emergency and you need to go to the hospital or the ambulance comes or anything like that, our home care nurse prints out your face sheet and gives it to the paramedics. So for some of you that have been here a long time, maybe as long as I've been here, we want to make sure the information we have now in regards to your doctor or doctors, your power of attorney, all those names, phone numbers, all that information is very important for the paramedics. So I want you to take it home and look at it. If there's any changes to be made, go ahead and cross it out and make it right on the sheet, or you can write it on another sheet, whatever's easier for you, and then you return it to me. I'm going to make a copy and give one to Maybelline in finance, and she's going to take the information that she needs, and then the other one will go to the home care nurse, and the home care nurse will document any changes in the clinic. Okay? So I was asked tonight to talk about the levels of care changes and the regulations. So the first thing I want to tell you by looking at this map, see if this is going to work. Yes, is that Atherton has 2 licenses. So one license is for skilled nursing, and if you don't know Joelle Medina, you should meet her. She's wonderful, and she is the current administrator for skilled nursing. Her job is regulated by the Department of Public Health, DPH. Everything else, independent living, assisted living, and memory care, are licensed through the Department of Social Services. And so skilled nursing is a medical model. Everything else on this campus is a social model. So we can't do medical things. There's first aid things and other things we can do for you, but we are considered a social model licensed through the Department of Social Services. And that's the residential care facility for the elderly. That's my license. So in skilled nursing, we are still licensed today for 99 beds. we're not using 99 beds anymore. And I think that's already been explained, that we're going to downsize. And we already have downsized in number. Today, we are at 64. So we can easily house those 64 residents in Fox 1 and Fox 2, which are 2 wings of skilled nursing. And I think you've already been talked to about upcoming changes in that regards. But the care that you get will always be excellent. And you will never have to worry that there's not a bed for you, because Atherton is going to continue to honor your contract when you need skilled nursing. What we're not doing anymore is taking people who come out of the hospital for rehab. They're not residents. And so we're not admitting anyone who is not already a resident. So you've made a good choice. In assisted living, we have 32 apartments. 10 of those apartments are 2-room, meaning living separate from the bedroom. And the other 22 are studio apartments, meaning living bedroom combination. We have, in some cases, opened a doorway between, like they do in a hotel suite, where you can go into the next room, but only if both doors are unlocked. Well, we have that same thing here. We've taken a couple of rooms so that if couples move to the villa, but they need the 2 bathrooms, then we can accommodate that, okay? In companion care, which is our memory care little cottage right across from the main building, there are 4 bedrooms, and so we have 4 ladies living there. They, in companion care or memory care, the residents have to be physically fine, but they're starting to have issues with cognition, okay? So those are the different levels of care. Now, how does that work for you? Well, since we are under the ruling of the Department of Social Services, they work hand in hand with the fire department. So every apartment, cottage, every unit on campus was first assessed by the fire department, and they determined if it was going to be licensed as an ambulatory unit, meaning the people that live in that unit don't need more than a 4-pronged cane. Now, I know some of you are looking at me and you're saying, I have a walker. That's okay. You can have a walker. I know a lot of you feel more comfortable walking around campus using a walker. That's fine, as long as when you're in your unit, you are not dependent on it. You can get around your apartment safely, and the most important thing they want to know is you can get out in an emergency, even if you don't have that walker, okay? So that's the ruling for ambulatory units. Non-ambulatory, which are typically the first floor units or any unit that does not have any stairs at least one of the entrances. Okay, so if you live in a home here at Atherton that has no stairs, you're probably in a non-ambulatory unit. And in that case, you can use a walker, you can use a wheelchair. However, there are 2 things that will require a move from independent living to assisted or higher. And both of them fall under this category of ambulation. You must be able to transfer in and out of bed, in and out of a chair, up and down from the toilet. You have to be able to transfer, because that's demonstrating that if you had to, you could get out. So it's all about fire safety, okay? So the Department of Social Services gets the information from the fire department, and then they tell us how each unit is to be licensed. Okay? They also tell us that because we're moving you in, we're responsible to assess you and make sure you're in the appropriate level of care. So the very first assessment you have is prior to moving in. So how many of you have had me in your home? Yeah, quite a few of you. Yeah. For many years, we didn't have to do that, but now they're requiring that we assess you in your own home because we find out a lot of things when we go to your home. And sometimes, you know, all of us, when we're going somewhere and they might be looking at us for, you know, acceptance, we're going to put on our best face, we're going to get our hair done, we're going to, you know, wear the right clothes, and we're going to say only the right things. But when we go to your house, I've been to some, and I see Post-its everywhere. No, the person that I'm talking about is not in here. That say, Mom, make sure you turn off the fire. Mom, make sure you lock the door. Mom, don't forget your keys. I'm thinking, okay, this is probably not someone who should live in independent living, right? So, and we also find out when we're there that you might have some special things in your home that we might be able to accommodate, but either way, we have to assess you prior to moving in now, okay? And then we have to assess you annually, and then after that, at any change of condition. So some of you have been to the hospital. Some of you didn't tell us that you went to the hospital, and you came back and you didn't tell us, and our home care nurse never knew, and we did not reassess you when you got back. But the way it's supposed to work is you let us know that you're in the hospital. Our nurse, our home care nurse, keeps in touch with the hospital to find out how you're doing, and you know, if there's any changes for when you come home, and we find out if you're going to need therapy, and that means a little bit of time in nursing. But some of you get to go straight back to your home. So when that happens, our home care nurse will do an assessment. It's quick. They come, they look at you, or they have you come to the clinic prior to returning, and they just make sure that you can transfer, that your memory is still intact and you know what's happening. And also she or he will find out if there's any services we should start providing. So that's really important. We're not doing it to control your life. We're doing it because we want to make sure you're safe in the unit that you're going back to, and if you need some extra support, we can get it for you. Okay? All right. So, now, sometimes in your lifetime at Atherton, people need to move to a higher level of care, or we need to add services where you are that can keep you independent, okay? So I know that your goal is to stay as independent as possible for as long as possible. So if it's possible, if you can still demonstrate that you can transfer and you can get out, but you're starting to need some additional help, then we have the department that's called Atherton at Home, and we can start to provide services where you are. For some of you, if we do the laundry and you take all your meals in the dining room, you're like, fine, I'm good to go. You know, for other people, I know I have housekeeping every other week, but I think maybe now I need it every week. And because I don't want to change the bed anymore, and I don't want to vacuum anymore. So there's a lot of things we can do for you. We call that department, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, concierge. So if you can think of it, we can probably do it for you. Okay, so in addition to the standard housekeeping, we can give you more. We can do your laundry. We can provide more meals, and if that means coming to the dining room or going to Hannah's or having meals delivered, those are things that we can do for you. We have some residents that like to go to the market, but they don't want to put everything away when they get home. We can do that for you, okay? So some of you don't really want to cook all the time. We do have some staff that can do some cook. We don't have gourmet chefs in the caregivers, but we do have some that are pretty decent and can make you a meal. And then aside from the transportation department, we can provide private transportation. So we, for years, had a resident who lived in independent living and she didn't drive anymore. And every Friday, we took her to her son's house for dinner, and then they drove her back. They were coming home from work, so they didn't want to have to do another stop, and plus they were making dinner. But that was one way we kept her connected, and we provided that transportation. Okay, so when a move is necessary, how do we handle it? So one of the things you need to know about is a meeting we have every Wednesday, and we call it RARC. It's the Resident Assessment and Review Committee. So the home care nurse reports on any resident that was assessed during that week. And then that's the assessment part. The review part is if during that time of the reporting of the assessments, there's a concern, we write that down and we figure out what do we need to do for this resident. Sometimes it's get more grab bars. So we write that down. Someone's assigned to tell maintenance to get the grab bars. Sometimes it's, you know what, we think this resident would be better off taking more meals. It's getting harder and harder for them to cook. They're not, it looks like nutrition, is being affected. So we'll say, okay, we need you to take at least the main meal every day. That does a number of things for us. We see you. We make sure you're getting one good, complete meal, and you're socializing. Socializing is the most important thing. We have to keep our brain active. We have to talk to other people. It's good for us to laugh with people. It's good for us to cry with each other. That's life. So sometimes that's the thing that we talk about. We will leave that person's name on the RARC minutes until we solve whatever the issue is. Sometimes that can take months. Maybe you're starting to show some health issues. We're going to talk to you about making an appointment. We're going to ask you if you need your family to help you make the appointment, or we're going to help you make the appointment. And then once you've had the appointment, we're going to find out, what did the doctor say? Do we now need to help you with some medication? Do you need some therapy? Is there something else we can do to help you stay where you are? And that's the goal. I know a lot. I have had people slam the door on me when I knocked to take a card that was an invitation to an activity and she hollered as she was slamming the door, "You're not moving me." I said, "Well, I'm also not inviting you to a party." So we know what your goals are, but we want to help you do that. But because of regulation, and sometimes just because your health and safety depends on it, we are going to require that you move to a higher level. But when we do that, we're going to meet with you. We're going to meet with whoever else you want to bring. Sometimes residents bring their friend, their neighbor. Sometimes they bring their children. or their cousins, or, whoever is their responsible party can be part of that process. There's actually a document that we have to use that states that not only did we explain it to you, we explained it to whoever you wanted us to explain it to. Now, sometimes you have named one of your children as durable power of attorney. And if you're like me, you have 5 children. So I explain it to the durable power of attorney, and then daughter 1 calls, daughter 2 calls, son 3 calls, son 4 calls, and they all want me to explain the whole thing again. And I say, I'm really sorry. You can talk to the durable power of attorney. Now, there are times that the durable power will say, is it okay if we give you all of our emails and we do it that way so I don't have to explain it to all my siblings? That's fine if it's fine with you and it's fine with the person you designated. While we're talking about durable power of attorney and you're looking at your face sheets, most couples, when they come in here, name each other as durable power. I cannot tell you how many times that has been a problem. Because you don't expect your loved one to be unable to make those decisions for you when you're not able. And sometimes it's just that it's too emotionally hard. So if you have children or someone else that you can name as co, or you can name as alternate. Alternate doesn't always work as well because sometimes the spouse who cannot really make the decision does not see that. And we have a hard time getting permission to tell someone else who can help. So really, when you're looking at that, consider, is this that we know you love each other and we know you want the best for each other, but sometimes it's just too emotional to do that because you love each other. So that's something to think about when you're looking at that. So we're going to communicate with you. We're going to invite other staff members. We're going to invite the therapy people, the home care nurse maybe, or Atherton at home directors if we've been giving services, so that we can all talk about what's being done, what can be added, or if in fact we can't add any more, we're going to talk about all those things. We're never going to come to your door and tell you you have to move. I promise. Unless your place is having some other kind of problems. Not you. On the form, it says your doctor. I will tell you, I've probably had a doctor in those conferences only one time. Unless it was a relative who was a doctor. But your personal doctors don't come to those meetings. They don't even want to do them on Zoom. So, even if you'd like that, it's kind of hard. We'll ask them if you want us to, but that's pretty difficult. So all of these things that we do are required of us. We have to tell you. We have to tell your loved ones. We have to tell you what the plan is. All of those things. And I would say 95% of the time, even if it's hard, we come to that agreement. There probably is 5% of the time that people are angry, they don't want to move, they don't want to, they don't see what we see, and that's hard, but I will still do it. I had a lot of practice. Not just here at Atherton. Before I came here, I said I had 5 kids, so at one time I had 5 teenagers living in the house. And on any given day, somebody went to their room and said they hated me, or I was not fair, or I'm just mean. And I'm a people person, so it did hurt my feelings, but I could sleep at night because I knew I was doing the right thing for that child. I'm not saying your children, but I can sleep at night if I know I'm doing the right thing by you, if I know that I'm doing it because it's better for your safety, for your care, whatever is the need, I can sleep at night. I cannot sleep if I don't do that, because I've had a gentleman at the market bring a resident home because she didn't know where she lived. And he said, I just guessed because I knew this senior community was here, and all I kept thinking is, I can't leave her here. I'm glad she asked me and not some weirdo who wouldn't have brought her home. That's happened. We've had people walk across a major street, and God has protected us. We've not been in the newspaper for any of that stuff. And thankfully, we haven't had to live through any of that stuff. But we've had some close calls. And so I sleep better if you are furious with me. But I know you're in good hands. So how do we provide the care services? So have you all met the home care nurse? Yeah, you should have. Okay. So the home care nurse comes in the first month of your living here, and they do a little bit deeper assessment, and they get more into detail with your medications or your doctors or your health issues. There's a number of them: Mike Diaz, Cindy Abdulhadi, Valerie Zazueta, and Roselle Siron. Those are the 4 home care nurses. And then we have a med aide, Renessa Martinez. Okay? So the home care nurse is the one who answers if you pull the cord in your bathroom, if you push the button in your bedroom, if for some unit, mainly assisted living, or if you press your pendant. Okay? They're going to come along with a caregiver and to see what you need. They also do medication management. We're required to do medication management for everyone in assisted living or memory care. But some of you, like my mom, when she lived here, have multiple medications, and this one's in the morning, and this one's in the evening, and this one's in the morning and the evening, and this one's in the afternoon, and this one is before food, and this one is after food. And she was like, no. So the home care nurse can set that all up for you and help in different types of boxes, but ways that help you remember. We can call you, we can bring it to you, you can come to the clinic, we can make it work, okay? The home care nurse also does wound care. Sometimes you've had a wound and the doctor sends you home and says, this is what you need to do, and your eyes are spinny. So our home care nurse can do that. And they can communicate with your doctor to do it just the way your doctor wants it. They also take your vitals. Our med aide can do that as well, and some of our caregiving managers are trained to do that as well. So if you need your vitals taken and the home care nurse sends the caregiver, don't worry. The caregiver is trained to do it, and they're going to report to the home care nurse, and then she'll do what she needs to do. So it's a good idea, even if you don't need it yet, to meet the Atherton at Home staff. Daniela is the director, Daniela Astrologo, and Ruth Deal. Ruth Deal's been here probably 20 plus years too. And so they are the manager, the director, and the assistant director. And then we have managers on each shift. But it's good to talk to them to find out what can they do, you know, or you might have questions of things. There's not much they cannot do, but they cannot do anything that's medical. Okay? So it's good to meet them ahead of time and find out. So someone asked me to list out the home care nurse duties. So I'm just going to read this to you. The home care nurse clinic. Do you all know where the clinic is? Yeah, okay. So the home care nurse clinic is in the assisted living building. So that's Jocelyn. If you go around Jocelyn, there's double doors. You go in, and then there's a hallway right here with 2 public restrooms, and the home care nurse office is there. Does anybody remember where it used to be? Yes, it was at the end of the Jocelyn wing. But during COVID, they made us move our home care nurse out of nursing because they said if nursing has COVID, the home care nurse can bring it out to everybody else. If someone in independent or assisted has COVID, the home care nurse can take it inside. So, we weren't thinking about those kinds of things prior to that. So that was something good that came out of it. And so now our home care nurse is there, and they pretty much have open door. They may not be there sometimes because they're out serving someone, but you can call them for sure. So that's where they're located, in the assisted living building. The nurses that work in there are all licensed vocational nurses, and they're responsible for the care and medication management of all the residents of assisted and memory care. Okay? They also, like I said, manage medications for independent residents who have elected to have the assistance or who require it. Okay? Most importantly, the home care nurse responds to the emergency alerts, calls, along with an Atherton at home caregiver. The home care nurse clinic is open from 7 in the morning until 11 at night. So 2 shifts. If you have an emergency overnight, we pull a nurse from skilled nursing because they have nurses 24/7. Okay? So, as I said, you can pull the cord in your bathroom or press your pendant. If you're able, you can call the nurse because sometimes you just have a question that she can answer or he can answer, but you cannot leave a voicemail. And that's by design. We don't want you having an emergency, leaving a message and thinking someone's going to answer that. If you don't talk to the nurse, keep pressing or pulling or whatever it is you need to do to alert us that you need us. Okay? Okay. So, I think that might be it, except it says questions. So I already received one from an Anani mouse that said to me, "Are we required to tell you if we're noticing something about our neighbor?" So I have received calls where somebody does not even say their name. I have received slips of paper under my door. People have left envelopes at the front desk that say my name, but nothing says who they are. And that's okay, because we are our brother's keeper. I know people don't like that saying, but we do. We care for each other. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you, sometimes when someone might be acting goofy, it could be as simple as a urinary tract infection. A urinary tract infection disguises itself as dementia. So whenever somebody is acting a little bit confused or forgetful and it's not the norm, the very first thing we do is get a culture, get a sample, and send it out to the lab to find out if in fact there's an infection. And I'm going to tell you I can't tell you how many times that's all it was. Yes. We have learned that. All of us now in our RARC meeting will say, somebody will say, she was really confused the other day. Sometimes maintenance will call us and say, I was talking to Mrs. So-and-so and she was really confused, and that's just not like her. Sometimes a child will call and say, I was talking to my mom on the phone and she doesn't sound like herself. Or, I was spending the afternoon with my dad and he just couldn't seem to remember anything. The very first thing we're going to do is see if that's what it is. And we're going to well, of course, we're going to call your doctor. They're going to give us an order so that we can collect a sample and get it to the lab. So, and a lot of times that's all it is. Other times it might be something. And we want to know, you want to know sooner rather than later. So we care for each other on this campus. And sometimes it's the housekeeper. I mean, they just know that they're concerned for you, and they let me know. And in that resident assessment review committee, we talk about it. Okay, so that was the Anonymouse's question. So, anyone have a question? Yes. Okay. Are there charges to all of these things I'm talking about? Yes and no. So you were all given, and you're given one every year, a piece of paper that's called the Optional Services Rate Sheet. If you're having an emergency and you pull that cord or you push your pendant and the nurse comes to see you, you are not charged for that. If you need your blood pressure checked all the time, but you come to the clinic, they'll do it for you. If they go to your home, they're going to charge you. If we do your medication management, there's a fee for that. But if you pick it up, there's no fee to deliver. If we bring it to you, there's a fee. If we call you to remind you something, we don't charge you. If we have to come to your home to remind you, we do. So there's a lot of differences, and most of them are explained pretty clearly on that optional service rate sheet. But you can always ask us before you request a service, is this going to cost me anything? And we'll tell you for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you go on the transportation to the market, there's no charge, the regular one. If we take you privately, you are going to pay for it. Yeah. You're going to pay for the time spent that the caregiver drives you, stays with you, brings you back. Yeah. Things like that. Yes. Okay, so the question is, if you pull that cord, that emergency cord, is it monitored 24 hours a day? And the answer is yes. We have a home care nurse in the clinic from 7 a.m. Actually, they're there really more like 6:30, but 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. At night, we have a caregiver who is here all night long. That caregiver gets the alert on they have a phone, and they get the alert. Then they will get the nurse from nursing, and they'll respond to your home. So yes, the emergency pull cords, the pendants, those are monitored 24/7. Okay, anyone else? Yes, Karen. It used to be every 6 months until COVID. Right. Okay. Correct. So in independent living, it really, our nurse is going to ask you those questions when they come. And I know I had a conversation with all 4 of them last week, and I said, I'm going to go to the meeting, and I know we're still behind. What are we doing here? So they're going to get to all of you by the end of this year if they haven't yet. And they're going to ask those questions, but I wanted to do this because we really do ask you They can do your assessment today, and next week your doctor retires, and now you have a new one. The only way we're going to know is if you call us. So you need to let the home care nurse know that you have a new doctor, the name of the doctor, the address of the doctor, the phone number of the doctor, and they're going to put that into the computer. And then when we print out the face sheet, that's going to come out. Yes. Right. Right. And that regulation, she asked about the physician's report, that the home care nurse, when they come see you, they bring a blank one for you to take to your doctor. That has changed too. We are not required to have that every year for independent living. That's not our choice. There's a group of seniors that live in communities that said they don't want to do that there's a lot of things that there's a group called Canner, I think it is. And they really do like fight for your senior rights, but some of the things they do sometimes limit what we can do that might be important for you. But they're still bringing those physician reports. I will tell you that we are having a lot of trouble getting doctors to do those or to give residents an appointment for their annual physical. The people, the applicants who are moving in now, they may need to move within 3 months, and their doctor's saying, I can see you in 9, maybe 6. I actually met with a local gerontologist who doesn't do insurance, but she'll come to your home, or you pay her a monthly fee, and she was very interesting. You pay a flat monthly fee, and you can have 2 home visits, and you can come into her office whenever you want. But I tried to hire her to do our physician's reports, and she said, no, I can't do that because I'm not the primary, and I don't know their history. And she said, I would not feel comfortable. And I said, okay, I was just trying to find somebody. But yeah, so if you know that you have not had your annual physical or biannual physical in a long time, go ahead and make your appointment, and we can give you that document if you need it to take with you. Okay? Does that answer you, Karen? Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Ben. Right. Okay, so Betty asked, she said, well, she made the comment that, she had her durable power of attorney updated. Did you give us a copy? Okay, so you did it a while back. Right, okay, so we have your original durable power of attorney. So we have a copy of the original. We do not review those. We don't. We don't look at all of them to make sure all those people are still the people. We wouldn't know. So again, if you change your durable power every year, give us a copy. Give us a copy. Maybelline will take that information, who's your durable power for health, who's your durable power for finance, and she'll put it into the database. Yes. Is it required for new residents to give us a copy? Okay, so it's not required by the state. We have to know who your emergency contacts are. That's a requirement. It is strongly recommended that you tell us who your durable power is, because We need to know who to contact for you to answer for you if you need it. If you don't give us that information, we don't know. Right. Okay, so how does it work if you want to make the changes? So part of what I gave you, if you looked at that face sheet, it asks who's your durable power. Okay, so that's the reminder to change it. If you have already changed it with your attorney, bring us a copy or bring it and we'll make a copy. If you haven't, you can pick up the original documents that they gave you in sales and marketing that said who's your durable power of attorney. You could just get a new one from them and you can have it witnessed with our notary, who right now is Leo. So to notarize. Yes. So you're going to pick up a copy from sales and marketing, call ahead. They'll give it to you or they'll leave it at the front desk, whatever. And then once you've completed it, don't sign it yet. And then sign it in front of Leo and he'll notarize it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so Betty did not have a good experience when she had an accident. She had to go to the nurse clinic and they could not find your file. I will tell you that I personally have gone through every file. We have 2 new file cabinets. I've got new file folders and I got everybody's paperwork put together. It took me, I don't even know how many months. And now they're doing it ongoing. But we have a file on every resident. And well, you know what happened? We had 2 really old metal cabinets where everything was stuffed in there that I couldn't pull a file out without tearing the top. So I went through and purged all the old documents. I called the state and I said, how many years do I have to keep files? And they said, you have to keep them for 3 years after they leave independent or assisted. When you go to skilled, we give them the information, not necessarily your file, but and then we keep it because you're still here at Atherton. But if you left Atherton, whichever way that would be, we keep it for 3 years, but we no longer keep it in the file. We have a separate area. So now we've made room. They can move the files around. They can find everything. They got new, what is that little P1, that little label maker? Everybody got a beautiful name. They're good. Anyone else? Yes. You updated it with Maybelline? Okay. It shouldn't be that way. So go ahead and mark it and give it back to us, and I'll find out what happened. Or if you would like, you can go talk to Maybelline and see, and she can tell you where she is in that, with your file. But yeah, we need to get that taken care of for you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so if there are no more questions, okay. So in the next couple, 3 weeks, I want you to look out for an article in the Athertonian. because the next thing we're going to do is Leo and I are going to talk to you about emergency preparation, about a go bag and having your face sheet and your post in your home so that it's faster if there's an emergency than waiting for the home care nurse to get it and bring it. Okay? So we're going to do a presentation together, Leo and I, and we're going to provide you those things so you can look at, we'll bring your post to that one. I didn't want to bring everything to this one. So I started with the face sheet. On that one, we'll bring a copy of the current post that we have for you. And then if they're correct, we will make you another bright pink, because that's what the state wants, copy, as well as a copy of your face sheet. And I'm currently looking for, I saw them at one event. They're a clear folder, or not clear, but they say emergency folder, and they stick to your refrigerator or the back of your door. So that, and what I was told is that EMTs know to look at your refrigerator or the back of your front door to find those things. So I'm going to get some of those things and bring them to that presentation with Leo. We're going to talk to you a little bit about, you know, what you need in your go bag, like in regards to, you know, comfortable shoes, medications, you know, things like that. And we'll talk a little bit more, review the okay sign that you all have. Okay? Yes. Yes, you changed your doctor. So write that out on that piece of paper I gave you, your face sheet, or you can attach a different paper if you want. I have one resident that brings me the business card every time she changes, and that's good. Everything's on there. You know, I give it to the people who document all that. Yeah. It should have been in your new resident packet. If it's not, you get it from Brianna. You had so many paper. I always used to say that I did marketing and sales for 20 years here. And then 10 of those years I was administrator, and the last 12 I'm just the administrator. I'm very happy about that. I loved marketing and sales, but I loved this part of my job. But I know that every once in a while a paper didn't get in a file, or you had all the papers from selling your home, and then you had all the papers from moving into Atherton, and you were papered out. Yes. I cannot, and I'm not attached to the internet, so I can't. Oh. Physician's order for life-sustaining, treatment. Physician's orders for life-sustaining treatment. So that's where you're going to name, you know, who do we call an emergency? Do you want them to put you on life support? Do you want, you know, it has a lot of different questions. Yeah. One more minute. Let me see. Oh, it is bedtime. And I'm saying that for me. No, I have another hour. I can get home first. Yes. Correct. The post is for when the EMTs want a copy of that. And we need to know, too, because we need to know what your wishes are and what to do. If you're, she said, no, it wasn't a question. She said the post is for when you're transferred. And I repeated, yes, the post is for when you're transferred, like to the hospital or, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about the presentation. If you really want a copy, I'll get you one.
Let's give a big hand to Angela, and we'll probably see her again. But it's 8 o'clock. Thank you for coming. Have a good evening, and good night.